Okay, map 13, we've jumped down into some sort of rocky, cavernous area. This map is called Redkeep, and this is the first time I really get to grips and learn how to create believable wide open areas. Now, my version, I think it differs from the id Games version because I've added a little bit more shading and lighting. So let's get going. It's got a large outdoor area and a large indoor area. The idea being it's some sort of hell castle that you're going to get into and explore. And we'll see there's a throne we're going to get to at the top, the second throne, and we'll talk more about that when we get to it. So this outdoor area has been criticised for having combat that doesn't really matter, and in some ways that's true. You can just run past all of these enemies and not bother, and I've said previously that sometimes it's okay to have combat like that, combat that kind of just floats about, combat you can avoid if you want to. I don't feel that you need to lock the player into rooms all the time. I think if you do that too much, if you force every encounter, that can be quite boring. And the fact that there's just a load of wandering monsters, I think, kind of adds to the believability of this environment as well, that we are in some sort of hellish world where there's just lost souls hanging about, you know, just imps sitting about on rocks. Like, it's what you'd see in hell, surely. And we drip down here into this bloody area here. We've got a few cacodemons. Now, if you leave the cacodemons alive, or any of these monsters out here alive, they do become a problem later. Get a few guys teleport here. Get some more shells. Try to get some infighting going. And that is a lot of Revenant rockets. Wolf. See if we can. No! Oh, almost got that Hell Knight. Can we get a cacodemon? No? God. Oh, shame. Okay. Well, let's just leave them fighting out here. Why not? They can just have a little brawl. We won't bother going for 100% kills. Get some more shotgun ammo, and then we're going to move inside. This area looks a bit barren. There's a few techniques I know now just to break up the monotony. That's a dodgy texture seam there as well. But generally, I think this is a nice looking environment. The shading helps a lot. And that shading's really easy to make. So if you've got an outdoor area, just cut big contrasting lines across your environment to create easy shading. Some people say, oh, you need to know where the direction of the sun is and you need to be consistent to that. If you want real attention to detail, yeah, sure, you can do that. But otherwise, just like these rocks here, just cut some lines, deepen them down, and they'll be believable enough. They add a lot, I think. So let's get into the castle proper. This giant lift. Chain gunner's over there, so we're going to go in here instead. And one of the best bits about this map is the sense of progression, because this is almost a horseshoe structure where we're going to start here, we're actually going to teleport all the way over there and end up over there, and you can see your progress through windows. I've said previously how important it is to have windows that show other parts of the map, to sell it as a real believable space, to show progression for the player so they know where they are, and just generally so you can create some nice lighting opportunities for yourself as well, have light peeking in. So we pop up here, we get a few supplies, and we can see down in the trees another G-Man watching us. We'll see in the next map after this where all those G-Men come from and what they're up to. There's our first chain gun, and we go here, misaligned wall, classic secret. Always put some easy secrets in your map. I don't always, and it's a mistake. Easy secrets, as I've said, just feel good. drop down here. This is a cool view. You can see all the progress we've made so far. Any monsters you've left alive, like all of these imps, you know, are just going to keep attacking you. So it's in your interest to actually clear out previous areas. Hit the switch and we're going to deal with this. So we've got lost souls on one side, and amazingly they didn't attack me at all. Usually they charge straight at you, which makes it harder to use the rocket launcher, but not impossible. You just got to pay attention and time your shots. Get the blue key, get this lift, and we'll get this to deal with. And then we're going to take a teleporter to the other side, and this is a nice little loop, isn't it? You see how easily we can move through, get the blue key, and then we head straight back up. So we'll take the teleporter now. Oof, now that is a dodgy teleporter. I don't quite know why I made it that way. I could very easily just put the Hell Knight somewhere where he can't see me, so you just don't get cheaply shot in the face. So that's a mistake there. And another mistake is not allowing the player to get through this as well. I think there's a missing texture there potentially. Is not allowing the player to get through this so they can see their progress. Don't know what I think I was doing. So we're going to pop down here, and a smart player can see that these two walls are misaligned, so you know what's coming, hopefully. I'm going to switch to the rocket launcher, and I think it's just a small little trap, chain gunners, cacodemons. If I was smarter, I would have opened something up there as well, so whilst you're dealing with this lot, you've got something behind you, maybe a revenant up there that you've got to deal with too. Because that trap isn't particularly interesting. And we're going to see we've got a big fight down here that is, it's okay. We can hear them all getting ready. I haven't actually saved yet, so let's drop a save. These imps. See, I don't think this is a particularly difficult fight. Nice open area, loads of cover though. It's quite fun to just shoot a load of rockets into it. Woke up the Archvile when I didn't want to. If you're smart and you know the Archvile's there, you can leave them to last. There we go, dead Archvile. Okay. Now let's just get some more monsters in. I think there's just zombie men over there. Ooh. Then we do some cleanup. So this is a really cool looking room, actually. Nice high ceilings with these big metal pillars. That was to give cover for the Archviles, of course. Big lighting fixtures as well, and this kind of gory, gooey floor. If you leave the cacodemons alive, they actually attack you through these windows as well. And that's just another opportunity to see outwards as well. Let's keep going. So we're going to head up. This is another great view. If you've got an opportunity to make a view, you should totally do it. Look at this. We can see all the progress we've made. We started all the way over there, and now we're here. Let's get some more rockets. Keep going. Almost done with the map. Just got a dunk on this Baron of Hell. A few more cacodemons to kill. And here is the throne. If you remember in the odd throne that doesn't actually look like it works, this is a great view. You sit in the throne, you can see everything that you've hopefully conquered. But that throne is a callback to MAP08, the Lost Tunnels, which also had a throne. So there's a link between the Hell bases on Earth and the Hell dimension in Hell, I guess. So we pop in here. We need the red key to get back out. So the red key must be in here. And again, another opportunity for cacodemons to come in and attack if you left any of them. We hit the switch. And we're going to get this. not a particularly challenging fight. This is quite an easy map. All the fights are really well telegraphed. You get plenty of ammo and opportunity. It's okay to have an easy map, and especially in a mega WOD like this. There are some really tough fights, so I wouldn't quite say this is a break map, but it's chill. It's quite laid back. It's definitely designed more for the journey than the combat, I think. So you can look back on everything that you've done and see how far you've travelled. And that's achieved just by windows, whenever you can basically. Just by windows and this looping horseshoe design. Right then, there's a few imps, we won't deal with them. But we will deal with this. So, that's Redkeep finished. Now, a bit of a, well, not potentially filler, but pretty generic hell map. The next one we're going to move on to is Bad Business. This was the first hell map I had, and it was an epiphany. The story was, if hell's doing these big invasions, then surely they've got to have some sort of legal department that's doing all the paperwork. Otherwise, how do you get demons in the right places? How do they know where to invade? Somebody must be doing all of the planning. And this is the first time I actually started using Dehacked as well and learning how it worked. I had no idea how Dehacked worked until I started making this map. And we're going to see all sorts of little things in this map. And it's also going to be quite difficult as well. It's incredibly fast paced. So, get ready. Here we go. Bad Business. So immediate hot start. Just want to go mad with the rocket launcher. Deal the Mancubus first. Get some more rockets. Blast those lot up. And if you just heard a door opening, that's because I didn't set some monsters on ambush because I wanted a few of them to eke out. So if you take too long, other guys start coming in and causing problems for you. So this map is just go, go, go. And to make a fast-paced map, you need to reduce kill time as much as possible, which means giving the player lots of ammo and also using lots of weak monsters as well. Missed the chain gunner, we'll do these guys. The music is from, people say it's from Sunlust, it's actually from House of the Dead 2 or 1, the Magician boss fight that got VG music. I think Sunlust had the same idea. So, if we look out here, we can see the kookiness, the stuff CPD's remembered for is all these floating meetings, all these creepy G-men watching us as we blast through their base. And of course it'll be revealed later that they've been watching us. If you've been eagle-eyed as well as a player, they've been watching us the entire time. They've got plans for us. Let's not take the chainsaw. We're blasting here. I'm just going to deal with all of this. Give a player a chain gun and let him just kick in the door against this stuff. It was great to mow these guys down. Oh, I'm almost dead. And we can see they've been planning about Earth. They've been doing something about Earth. That's one of the first dehacked things I made. It looks a bit dodgy, but I think it was a picture from NASA, and I kind of by hand clipped out all the stray pixels around it, converted it to Doom palette, and it turns out generally okay. It looks like Earth. And it's full of lots of silly details, like this is meant to be a computer with the brain and the stem being a mouse, because it's Bad Business. It's meant to be like an admin, a weird demonic admin office. Well, they're planning the invasion, they're working with these creepy weirdo lawyers. So you'll see that the combat in this map, it's all push forward. There's not really a single time when you're forced to retreat. Partly because all your resources are laid out in front of you, but because your opposition, whilst intimidating, is not so difficult that you have to run away and hide. And that's how you create momentum in a Doom map. And a lack of doors as well. There's not many doors in this map. That's a tip from Skillsaw. He wrote a post about how to make fast-paced Doom maps. He said, don't use doors, because doors naturally slow the player down. Of course, I made this void effect just by making the floor and the ceiling sky and lowering down some walls that have missing textures on, so you just get this void effect. And it looks a bit crazy. Doesn't quite make sense, and that's what I was going for. So plasma guns up here. We're just going to drop a save. Deal with these chain gunners. And then we're going to open up these doors. There'll be Barons and Revenants, and just let them spill in and kill them all. Try not to blow myself up. And we've missed a secret. Let's go get the Berserk down in this floating admin office. It's ridiculous. It's great, it's memorable. Every Megawad has one or two maps they're remembered for. I think this is definitely one of them. This and MAP29, maybe MAP30 as well. MAP23 too, potentially. Ooh, gotta keep moving. Get some more rockets. Just clenching my cheeks there. Ever so slightly. Okay, so that's a fight where you have to move forwards because all your ammo is over here in this room. By the time when you open the doors, you're probably quite ammo starved. You don't have much going on, so in order to actually defeat all the foes, including the Arachnotrons up here, you need to come get the ammo here, so it forces you to move forward. And then, if you haven't found the secret, you'll be able to see it from here. I think, how do I get there? Let's keep going. So there might be cacodemons teleporting behind us. That was unintentional, but because there's a teleporter on the floor that if the player falls down they can take it, but the cacodemons end up taking it as well, and I kept that in because it just lets them flank you. It's fun if something emergent happens that you don't want to happen, but it's good, just leave it in there even if you didn't intend it. So that's raised the bridge. I'm just trying not to die. Ooh, let's try and rush this Revenant. Okay, let's drop a save. There's a little secret here. One teleporter, I think is this one, is not like the rest. Yes, and this takes us to weird, more demon offices. It takes back it. We can see, we can instigate some infighting here. This is the final room, but we've got if you played the map, you know what's coming up. One very, very big fight. And after we have a go at it, we'll deconstruct what makes it so good. So here we go. So, as I said, all your resources are in the room. By the time you're here, you're probably ammo starved, so you want to get in the room and it's going to close behind you. And then we've got all of these Hell Knights, and let's just start blasting through them. And they've also been having a meeting about planet Earth. Okay, so we've got 200 cells, 56 rockets, and we want that key. Let's see what happens. We're going to get Hell Knights and Revenants from here, and hit scanners in the back. So So you want to deal with the hit scanners first. You're on a time limit because those lot are going to start closing in. So that should be the hit scanners dealt with, almost. It's a mixture of chain gunners and shotgunners. Revenant is so far away. Okay, so we deal with that first of all. And we run out here. Is there an arch file? I remember there being an arch file out here. There might have been previous versions. And we're in this weird void. Got all these revenants to deal with. You know, let's just get the Mancubus involved. Why not? Let's hit the switch, get more monsters in. So it's an absolutely bizarre and highly memorable arena because you're literally floating in space. I'm getting Mancubus in, might have been a bad idea. You're floating in space surrounded by evil demon lawyers who are all staring at you. Originally, I think there was an arch file on the outside as well, and that slowed down the pace too much. In hindsight, this middle thing could have actually just been a series of pillars, then that could have given you more cover. Right then, that's the fight done. Occasionally quite tough if you don't deal with the hit scanners at the back. Oof. Or you'll just eat a rocket. And just 2 barons. The barons are here just in case you try and run through it all. They're here to stop you. They're the doors with health, as they've been called. We hit this and we finally lower the yellow key. So what makes this fight so good? Because you're being attacked from multiple angles and it's also visually memorable. You're floating in space. The revenants are on the outside. So what happens is they all clump up and fire at you at once. The Hell Knights kind of occupy space in the centre. And if you get distracted by this, you get caught by the hit scanners behind you. So let's get out of here then. Oh, where did he come from? He's dead now. If I was smarter, I would have found a better way to get back here, a new way to loop around. This is a bit unfortunate. There should have been a way for me to fix this as well. I don't like that they all clump up here. We've got 20 rockets and we need to deal with a last batch of revenants. Oh, and Kappa demons. I forgot about those. Whew. There we go. So, let's get the hell out of here. This is good use of damaging floor. You're high up, you don't want to drop down, but you've also got to avoid Revenant missiles at the same time. And we just get a load of Hell Knights. Originally it was a huge group of Revenants, but that was a little bit too mean. A single Archfile maybe would have been smarter. So, there we go. MAP14, bad business, done. Very memorable map. Unique theme, fast-paced music, go, 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 action with one really memorable fight in there. High point of the Megawatt, I think. Next map is going to be Infernal Archives, I think. Let's have a go at this. So I knew I wanted to make a library level, and I wanted it to have a much slower pace of play, because I realised most of my maps had fast midis, fast gameplay. I wanted to challenge myself to try and tone it down, and I half achieved it here. I couldn't help myself. I ended up making a level that still plays quite quickly. 3 secret switches, by the way, till I get the secret level. So what I ended up making was, instead of a slow, ominous level, was actually just a trap-filled death house with books in, which in some ways is pretty good as well. But you'll see the interconnectivity here is really good actually, and we'll look at examples of that later. but loads of traps. Absolutely loads of traps in this. And one coming up now. I know him also, it's less challenging. If somebody doesn't know him, it's been quite a devious map. Maybe even feel a little bit unfair. But people really like this map. Partly because it does its theme so well. Ooh, well, that guy got me. There's shotgunners up there, can be quite dangerous actually. Want to be really careful. Take our time. This is a map where you've got to take your time. It's filled with hit scanners. There's not actually that much health. There's just full of traps. Hit this. Loads all of these. We want the super shotgun out. Because of this guy here. Oh, and that guy. Let me just deal with this guy. Oh, so there's the rocket launcher. People have missed that rocket launcher the entire map actually, which is frustrating. How I would have changed that in the future is probably should have just lowered this floor a bit, just so it's easier to see because it's hidden up there. Just lowered it a little bit. This is a hint of the outside area and what a death zone it is. But it also gives you an opportunity to deal with a bit of the fluff, so you don't have to deal with it later. And if you really want to, I guess you can start sniping some electrons. We'll do one. Oh, and just die perhaps. I'll be back in a moment, I think.